Well, welcome. I'm Wendy. I'm the founder of World Channel Outlet Ministries, and we're here on one of our properties because yes, it is time for maple syrup making. So that means time in the woods, preparing our lines and trees and everything that's needed to be done before the sap run. So my son's up here, and we got the sun right in your eye, sorry about that. So he's taking old taps. So Jacob, can you just describe what you're doing right now for somebody who may not know what's happening right now?
Well, basically what we're doing right now is we have tubing set up in this woods, which most nowadays everybody uses. There is basically what we have to do is take these drops in our end lines like this, which each have a spile on them on the end.
Okay.
They're hooked into this tubing. We basically find a better spot on a tree. Obviously this wood's been tapped before, so there's old holes we have to miss.
So how far do you have to miss them, like old holes?
We try to keep at least 3-4 inches of space between them.
Okay,
We don't want to get into a bad spot.
I've had that question asked before, like, can you re-tap an old hole in a tree that's already been tapped? So you try to let it heal up and move on to another area, I guess, is what you would say.
Yeah, we try to miss the old holes, find a new spot that looks healthy.
All right, let me come down so I can show people at home what actually this process would look like.
Try to find a place that looks good, and then when we drill, we try to keep everything straight. And we try to make sure we get good chips before we put the spot on the hole. If we don't, we try to pick another spot and try again.
So the chips is a good sign, it's a healthy way to go.
Yeah, if the tree's healthy and the wood's in good shape, and it should produce good sap without leaking with vacuum, because there is vacuum on the system.
Right. We also know, but we don't want to assume anybody is, if they're watching us the first time, that we obviously only tap maple trees. There's other woods in this set of woods that we didn't tap.
There's a dead hole here.
Let me see if I can get up closer to it.
There's a few holes along this tree that have been tapped before.
Okay, put your finger to the...
Here, and up here.
Okay.
And we try to pick a spot that's furthest away from as we can. Obviously, he's been tapped a few times, so it's tough to do, but we'll try to pick a spot up here away from everything else. And I just drive this spile in until it seats flush.
Okay. So you got to go through every tree that has taps available to tap into and go through the same process with every potential tree that you're going to gather sap from.
Correct.
Okay. So now we're going to walk along Found Jacob for a moment, but we also know that we've got these lines, and at the bottom of this woods, which is only one that we have. We don't have on one property. We have multiple properties with trees that are tapped. These lines run into a main line. Jake will correct me if I'm wrong with anything I'm saying. And then at the bottom of this hill is a tank with vacuum pump.
Correct. Basically all these smaller, these are 5/16 lines. All these gather into a larger unit, which is our main line, which is anything from 3/4 up to 2-inch plastic tubing, which everything gathers into that. Basically, it's like a giant spider web or a giant tree trunk. Everything gathers into a larger pipe system, and then gathers down to our releaser above our tank, dumps into the tank, and we gather it from there.
Okay, and we have a vacuum pump because that helps, again, correct me if I'm wrong, with suctioning the sap out of the trees.
Correct.
With our weather patterns, they're a little bit different here in New York. We first started out, your father, growing up doing maple syrup, we used buckets, and we hung them, and when the trees thawed out, obviously the sap would run out, but times have changed, and so we've adapted to those changes with technology.
Correct. And we get, usually with vacuum versus just a plain gravity-fed system, we'll double or 2.5 times what we normally get out of a gravity
to
system.
Extract from the tree the sap. And so, folks at home, this is just to let you know, this is just the beginning process of the season and getting the sap from the trees. As you can see, there's different lines all the way through the woods. It's a process, and this is only the beginning process to get this out of the trees, down into the tank, and from there it has to be gathered with trucks and then taken to our farm location for the next process, which we're going to do another segment for you on that of how we do that and dump it into the tanks and then start the process there. So, Jake, did you have anything else to add with this woods process?
No, that's basically it. It's pretty simple. It's just a lot of time, effort, getting everything together, maintaining it, and then getting everything work. And once we have everything tapped in this woods, which we're almost done, and then we'll come back through once it's warmed up enough for the sap to run. We'll get the vacuum going, and then we'll check to make sure there's any leaks. Because if there's any leaks, we're going to lose our volume and lose production. So.
Right. So the whole point is to check the accuracy of this, the lines, and if they're working properly. The other thing is, what's the temperature that you would turn on the vacuum pump?
It depends. Usually, normally it's 34, 35. If you get the sun out, sometimes just above freezing, 33, will get the sap moving. When the sun's out, like today, it's been frozen for the last few days straight, so it's going to take a little bit to get it going. So I'd imagine maybe by the end of today or tomorrow morning, maybe midday, when the sun starts to come out and get a little warmer, it should start moving then.
And it'll help. The sun definitely helps. We need cold nights, warm days. I want to get this thing correct. So that's the process. And again, the vacuum pump definitely helps. And as you can hear the crunchy snow, it's definitely got snow in the woods. There's Jax, he's helping now. He's getting trained up. And Steele's over there, he's helping too. We got Dad down in the woods, the lower part of the woods. He's tapping the tree's lower end. And I had to hoof it up here to show all of you what's up here happening, and I was hoping to get down closer. Excuse me, I almost dropped the camera and go from there. But down, I don't know if we can see if I can zoom in enough. Oh, there's my cars down in there. But down over the hill there is the tank that we're speaking of, and it's a little hut unit, and the vacuum pump is in there, and that's where it falls down into that, and that's where they pick it up from the truck. So this is something my husband has always done since he was a little boy, is done maple syrup and made it. He used to gather with a wagon and go down the road from the trees locally in his hometown. And, oh, there's Dad right there. And boil it in his, he's probably thinking, I'll just keep working, I'll avoid that camera, but I'm going to try to get him. Gather it up and he would boil it in his backyard. So we've come a long way. We've got many woods and many taps, and it's a process in which we all as a family, the kids have grown up. Jake is our son, and we have 2 older daughters, and they were all grown up in making maple syrup and the process of it, working in the woods, and also when we take it back, the process of boiling that down and canning it. And then they've also helped label and then sell it to the customer. So they've got the whole process of this farming industry piece of it, because it's agriculture, and also as training them up in business, which is a great way to demonstrate this with your children. And it's a family business, and one we love to do together and to share with all people. And then of course that sweet gold product that comes out at the end is wonderful, that God's creation that comes from the trees. So we just wanted to show you that we're started off. This is January, second week in January 2017, and we're at it again, and we look forward to sharing the season with you, and we look forward to being blessed with this sap coming through to make the end product of maple syrup so we can share it with all of you. So look forward to more segments as we continue to move on with how you make maple syrup and get it from the tree to the jar to your pancakes and waffles. Until next time, walk by faith. We love you, and this ministry is all about faith, family, and farm.